This is episode 325, and we're talking about how to actually run meta ads with ad expert Neil Shoney. Welcome to the Content Queen podcast. I'm your host, Mariah, entrepreneur, storyteller, digital nomad, creative content bootcamp, and founder of Content Queen with over 10 years experience in marketing. This podcast is here to help you create a content marketing strategy that is perfect and ideal for you and your business only. I do this through blending storytelling and strategy. So let's get into it. Hello gang. We are not in the bus. If you are watching this and you know my whereabouts, I'm actually at my parents'. The bus is getting fixed at the moment. But that is not the topic of the podcast. We could talk about bus updates forever and a day. Today we're talking meta ads and specifically what you as a business owner should be doing. If you want to run ads, how to work out if you should run ads, all the things. And please give Neil as much love as possible by following him, connecting with him. He actually re-recorded this for me because I had a corruption on my computer and I lost a lot of files, and his interview was one of them. So we did re-record it. So please show Neil some extra love and time because he spent a lot of time with me to record this episode. So let's share all things Neil, and then we can go learn more about meta ads. It's a really, really great episode. Got me thinking a lot as well. So Neil Shoney is an ad specialist, strategist, and go-to expert for coaches, consultants, and service-based providers who want a simple, proven, scalable Facebook ad system that brings in consistent premium clients. He has over 13 years experience running ads and over 3,000 coaches, consultants, and service providers that he's helped. Neil is known for turning complicated advertising into clear, repeatable frameworks that work across every niche of online coaching because unlike almost everywhere else you turn, Neil doesn't believe that there's a one-size-fits-all approach, which I can totally agree with and resonate with. So after managing high-speed campaigns in the US and UK, Neil shifted to coaching full-time and created a library of 36 proprietary frameworks, including his 255 method that helps coaches install a functioning, profitable ad system in days, not months, that they can turn off and on like a tap whenever they want new leads. His clients span from 62 niches, with 21 of those niches hitting six-figure months, including fitness coaches, business coaches, fiction writing coaches, that's a cool niche, and even online dog trainers through ads. Neil's specialty is helping coaches escape manual lead gen, build warm audiences on demand, and use ads as an engine for their entire business. Even if they've failed ads multiple times before, his data-proven simplicity and focus on profitable acquisition has earned his reputation as one of the most trusted ads mentors in the coaching space. He's based in Florida. He lives with his wife and kids, and it was absolute pleasure to welcome Neil onto the show to help us. So let's chat with Neil.
Well, Neil, welcome to the podcast. I'm really excited to have you here. Take two. I'm sure in the intro I've explained what happened with this episode, but this one is going to be better, and we all appreciate your time. So to kick us off, can you please share a little bit more about your story and how you got into the world of ads and marketing and building your own business?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, thanks so much for having me again on the pod. Um, we, the way that I got into Facebook ads is probably different from anybody else that does what I do for a living, which is with no background in marketing whatsoever. I didn't work in a marketing role. I didn't study marketing. I actually studied sport and exercise science at university, but never went to class and just had a really good time, if I'm being completely honest. Um, and I ended up getting into Facebook ads to literally save my ass in my first business. So I came straight out of university, £2,000, so about 4,000 Australian dollars, in a student overdraft in debt, so like nothing. And I just had this like big idea. I was always entrepreneurial from a very young age, and I just knew I was going to run businesses. That's why I took no interest in university, because I was like, I'm not going to use this anyway. Um, and I decided to start Scotland's biggest ever health and fitness exhibition. And by that, I don't just mean like, oh, we like rented a space and we're like, hey, we'll put on some fitness events. I mean like the biggest event venue in the entire country, the biggest space that they had available. And I just had this like massive idea that, wow, there's nothing like this in Scotland. I didn't really take into account it's got like the highest diabetes in the world. as a country. And that should have been like an indication that it wasn't going to be the smoothest ride comparable to what I thought in my own mind. So I assumed that build it and they will come. And as soon as people hear about this, they'll absolutely love it, and thousands of tickets will be sold because we needed to sell like, I don't know, 3 or 4 thousand tickets just to like break even, which was crazy. And about 5 months in to signing my life away in documents and contracts for the venue, for carpet, because you have to carpet like 5,000 square meters, all the exhibition stands, all the electricals, all the celebrities that were going to come, all of their flights, all of their hotels, da 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 da. We had sold like 50 tickets at £12.50. And I was like, oh my goodness. And this is me smashing like social media, mainly Twitter and Facebook back then, to be honest, but Twitter and Facebook, and posting multiple times per day on both platforms. Hey, let's do different content that's better for the different platforms. I was literally Googling because people used to list their emails on Google as like personal trainers and things. So I used to find email addresses and I would send like 300 cold emails a day to personal trainers. It was just like it was like complete like old school guerrilla marketing. And then when we were at that point of being like 5 months out from the event and just being like, I'm going to be like bankrupt at 21, ruin my reputation at 21, and never be able to get like anything back here. Uh, I just, I remembered that when I was in university and I was running club nights, that I boosted a couple of posts and we used to fill club nights through it. And I was like, I wonder if I could do that now. And then I started to Google and look at blogs and saw there was a different way to do it, which was through Ads Manager now, which by the way, you used to have to like create a document and upload your ads back then. It was like a completely different experience from now. And I put together really close to the Shoney 255 method that you know about. It was really close to that. And I certainly don't think it was me being smart. I think it was just like this could go in many directions, and I picked one and it just happened to be right, which is I have the option to choose different audiences. I have the option to choose different ads here and let Facebook tell me what works better rather than me just guessing. So I did that. And in the first few days, we had sold a whole bunch of tickets. It was like 13 tickets or something, but it was like, it was still like a like 12x return on my ad spend. And I was like, penny dropped. For every pound that I put in, I get 12 back. Now I don't have a lot of money in the bank, so I can't just like chuck tons at it. But as soon as I make money, I can just chuck it back in. And so for the next 5 months, it was just scaling Facebook ads, and that was it. And we ended up opening up the first event with thousands of people coming through the doors. We sold out all the exhibition stands, which we ended up selling through Facebook ads as well, through an application funnel to some of the biggest companies in the industry, USN, etc., were big exhibitors there, brought loads of famous people to the event, which was great. And then I grew that over 4 or 5 years and then sold it to the biggest events company in Scotland. And the word of mouth just started to go around that I had done this through Facebook ads, not the traditional means that everybody else in the industry does, which is TV, billboards, radio ads, and all those things. Didn't do any of that, just ran Facebook ads. And one of my exhibitors actually got me my first client. I had no plan of getting into this whatsoever. And somebody called me and said, Johnny said you're the person to help me launch my gym. And it turned out it was a council gym. So it was like having to go through the council rather than like it being like some just like ambitious young guy opening up a gym. And it was like a big, massive facility. And I was like, I said no to him initially, but then I went back on it, and then I ended up going ahead and taking on that client. We did a 7 week campaign for their facility in which it was a building site, and they gave me a cartoon video to work with. And we spent was it 4,000 or 7,000? 4,000 or 7,000 pounds on ads. But anyway, we returned £297,866 of gym membership sales in that 7 weeks before their doors opened. And it was just like my phone just started ringing with strangers nonstop of people being like, he said that you should run my ads next. And this, I just ended up with all these gyms and fitness people, etc. And I don't only work with that now, and I haven't done for the last like 10 years. I've worked with all coaches, consultants, and service providers. But back then it was just like the word of mouth was just in the fitness space, and everybody was like, you need to work with Neil. And then yeah, it snowballed from there.
I love that. It's such a good story though, right? Because it is really that kind of like rags to riches with your Facebook ads or with your event, being like, oh my God, I feel like it is going to like completely bomb to being such a successful and I feel like the beauty of that is like, yeah, I think we forget how much access we have, but I feel like we can be a little bit not ungrateful, but we forget what's possible. Like back then, obviously, social media was so different. And even before then, yeah, as you said, people were spending money on radio, TV, so expensive, right? I worked in marketing, in-house marketing, and we were spending so much on billboards and radio. Of course, they had the budget, but it's like, you know, and Facebook ads as well. But like it's just this really cool story of like how we have so much opportunity at our fingertips if we use it properly and if we
Hmm.
trust in that like in that process as well, right? Because obviously there are so many ways to market our business and some people really sell Facebook ads in the it's going to save my business and obviously that was sort of your story and I know we have spoken about how it's not always the exact reality of how it works, but it is such a good story of how we have so much opportunity in front of us and just believing in that and using the elements that we have rather than being like, oh, I only got X amount of views on my Instagram post. But it's like, imagine, 50 years ago having access to this amount of people from your house, right? From just like being
Yeah,
on your computer. It's just, I don't know, it always blows my mind. I was talking about it last week in a workshop, you know, like you say, oh, I only reached X amount of people on my content or this or that, but it's like you get access or like, oh, Facebook ads, I feel like it's getting more and more expensive and you're spending like, I don't know, $10 a day, some people, 50,
hmm,
whatever, but like to do a TV ad, right? How much that would cost.
exactly. And you made a great point there about socials, which I always say to my clients as well, is like it, if especially if they're like a newer coach and they're getting started with a new account and they're like, yeah, but only like 112 people saw my last post or my last reel. I was like, can you imagine a room with 112 people looking at you from stage?
Exactly.
Like like that's an
Exactly.
amazing opportunity. So like again, when people are like, well, I've got some posts that are some videos that are doing quite well. I mean, they're not viral. They're like
Mm,
4, 5, 6,000 views. And I'm like, 4, 5, 6,000 people have taken the time to watch your video. Like,
yeah.
think about it. And to your other point there, it's that crazy thing that we've become a little bit spoiled in like the social media world of being like, I can get clients through effort and for free. And the client can also come from like, I could create a post right now after this podcast. I could take 10, 15 minutes to think it through, to create it, put it into the format that I want it. I could post it within 5, 10 minutes on the other side. And hey, in the first 5, 10, 15 minutes, probably the most engaged people in my audience are going to see it first. So if
Mm,
the call to action is really good, I could literally have a booked call and an
mm,
opportunity to sell in the next 45 minutes from complete blank idea. That's an amazing thing. But because social media is free, people look at Facebook ads as like inverted commas expensive. But at the same time, first of all, like you said, 30, 40, 50 years ago, our way of testing a new product or a new idea or a new message or a new creative angle was to spend 50K on an advertising campaign.
mm,
And now we can literally put £3 a day behind something and see if it catches fire. And we can always start small before we start to spend more on the winners. So it's an amazing opportunity. Social media is an amazing opportunity in general.
mm,
Facebook ads and Instagram ads, even advertising platforms outside of Facebook and Instagram, they're all amazing opportunities for
mm.
us right now.
Yeah, no, it's such a good point, and I think it's a nice reminder for us all to, and also on that point where you said about we expect it for free because we get it for free. It's
Hmm.
like, when what I love about the whole like the relationship between organic and paid social media is you can spend time really building community and relationships with your organic, and then you can amplify your set because there's lots of people that actually don't feel natural creating content all the time that is salesy, right? Like it's not something that I'm naturally comes to me. I love like sharing and giving stuff away, sharing all my wisdom. It's like why I have a podcast that's got 324 episodes, right? Like I love just like spending time talking and all of that. So for a lot of people that don't naturally feel like showing up all the time and selling on a social media platform, ads gives it a really great way to sort of amplify what you do. And it's almost like, yeah, of course you got to create the content to put it out there, but at the same time, it's not in your face always like, oh, obviously if you see your ad all the time. I stopped seeing my ads, which was nice, like from my other account. So, it was like
Well,
nice not seeing my face all the time.
no, I still see my own ads as well. And people, every single person that comes on to a call with me is like, you have like been haunting me with ads for like a year and a half. So I just felt like now is probably the time.
Yeah.
Um, but your point of like the connection between organic and ads is one of my favorite things about organic and ads separately but together, which is
Yeah.
the better you do a job with social media, the easier the ads become.
Mm,
Because, well, we do two campaigns. We have a cold campaign and a warm campaign, people who know who you are and people who don't know who you are. For the warm campaign, the people that know who you are, there's two really important things there. Number one, that there's people there.
mm,
So the more effort that you put on socials, you might have 5,000 people to aim at with that campaign, or you might have 50,000 people to aim at with that campaign. And so, given that warm campaigns can be so unbelievably fruitful because these people already know who you are, and now you're placing a targeted offer in front of them, that in itself is like, why would you not be creating content on socials? Why would you not be looking for ways to amplify the amount of people that you connect with? You can create audiences not just on your followers, but also the people that viewed your videos, even if they're not a follower, the people that visited your profile, even if they're not a follower. So merely creating content and getting engagement is enough for them
mm,
to recognize your face and your name and for you to be able to retarget them with ads. And so on one side, socials is incredible for building that audience. And the other thing is the quality of the content that you put out there is going to determine how well your warm audiences perform from ads. And
mm,
so it's one thing to merely be seen, but imagine imagine if you got some like negative press, right? You got some negative press and everybody went to your IG and then you're retargeting them with ads. You can imagine that your audience might like 10x, but your sales certainly wouldn't.
mm,
So obviously that's a bit of an extreme example, but it's that thing of if you want to get better results from your retargeting ads, it's not just get a bigger audience, it's create better content for that audience so that when the ad lands in front of them, they're like, thank goodness, a way of working more closely with this person has finally arrived. Like that should be the feeling, but it's not going to come through if your social media strategy is inverted commas, look alive. Like, oh, I need to post
mm.
something today. Like there's got to be strategy behind it. Which I know that's like I'm speaking to the
Yes.
converted there.
Yeah, but speaking to everyone that sometimes they don't always listen to me, Neil, so it's good to hear it from
Yeah,
someone
yeah,
else,
for
especially when
sure.
they're in another space. But no, totally, totally agree. And I think, that that mindset of, oh, it's 5 p.m. I haven't done anything on social media today. Let's throw something up. What's out there, and I think it becomes a bit of an afterthought. And in that same regard, because we have this like mindset that social media is depending like, oh, I love it or I hate it or it gives me opportunities or it doesn't. I think sometimes we kind of like are always the first to see it in a more of a negative way because that's just how it's always been delivered. Like, oh,
Hmm.
it sucks all of our time, it's time consuming, it's this, rather than seeing it as an opportunity to be in front of people. And I have a client that she loves LinkedIn, but she doesn't love Instagram. And she started running ads, and now you can see it changing because she is seeing those outcomes come through in terms of like engagement and everything like that. So now she's on it more. And I think that it's like knowing why you're there as well is so important. Like if your goal is to eventually run ads, you can't just be like, all right, I'll just post stuff until I've got the money to run ads. Like if you spend the time nurturing your community and bringing in new people, then when you run the ads, it's like, as you said, it's just such that natural transition. It's not like, the ad is so perfectly put together and it's really engaging. And then your content is like photos of what you had for breakfast or your coffee or,
Yeah.
something like a little bit random. And I think there's also that sort of blend between business owner and content creator. I saw last night a well-known active brand in Australia, like an influencer one, put up a post and he's like, our Instagram, like our business is not doing so well. I'm hoping someone will see this and critique it. And I looked at their page and it's literally like they're content creators and they just post stuff about them getting married and like they're an activewear brand. And the first 5 videos, I don't see any, no, they're not even wearing the activewear. Like there's not even product
Yeah.
placement. So I was like, I don't think they have a marketing strategy. But, I think a lot of the times is we get stuck in that loop of just like, oh, I've got to create content. So now I'm a content creator as opposed to like a business owner with a mission and a
Yeah.
purpose and things to share. So you spoke like we just spoke about that kind of like um relationship between organic and paid. Do you find now it is a little bit of a pay to play? Like if you're a business owner, it is sort of expected that your goal is eventually to use this platform as a paid option? Or are
Hmm.
you like obviously in your role you want people to see the power of ads, but I don't know if it's just sort of like, oh, it's kind of pay to play now. Like you just expected that eventually you will run ads. I think it's like a given now as business owners. Whereas before, I think with the boom of social media and Reels and TikTok, we kind of thought, oh, I could just grow my business organically. And there was this like period of time where it was this hook of like, I had a $10,000 launch with no ads. It was this like kind
Yeah.
of like I don't know, like hero statement. It's like it's of
Yeah.
course like it's people, but like they spent time and energy. They didn't spend no money. Like they definitely spent money
Yeah.
to make that money. So I'm
Yeah.
keen to hear your thoughts around like that pay to play concept or like, it's sort of just a given that Facebook ad is if we're on this platform for free, we should have that goal of paying for ads eventually in some degree.
Yeah. Well, I mean that one of like um a 10K launch and I didn't even use ads is like I used to so I haven't seen that comment in like years now, but I used to get that comment
Yeah.
on my ads like 3 years ago, and it would be like, oh well, don't need this because I just did a like 15K launch and I didn't even use ads, and I used to just always because I replied to every comment on ads because it's amazing for
Yeah.
reducing the cost of your ads to do so.
Mhm.
So I used to always just reply, could have been 50. Like, what? I don't get your point. Like, okay,
Yeah.
you made 15K from the launch. It could have been 50 if,
Yeah.
if it was that good and you simply put it in front of a few people at a small spend that were the right people, then it would have been even bigger. But anyway, sorry, what was the original question there? Because I
Yeah,
kind
so
of hooked
at the
on to your
moment,
last point.
the pay to play concept, like, is it sort
Yeah.
of, I mean, of course, it depends on your type of business. Like, there's probably service-based businesses out there that can only take on a certain amount of clients. So they're like, okay, cool, that's where I'm at. But like, for people that want to scale and grow, especially in like the coaching space as well, because there's so many, like, now we've got different offers, different products, etc. I think, sort of shifting that mindset of like, yeah, it is kind of a given that you will put money towards ads in some degree to amplify your reach.
Yeah. Well, it like you say, there is caveats to it. And if somebody does have space for like 8 clients and 8 clients that pay well and they're happy with that, they've got no want to scale
Mhm.
whatsoever. It's very much a lifestyle business, then I totally get it. That if they've already put energy and effort into growing an audience on socials and it's relatively well engaged, that being pretty strategic with how to utilize socials could bring that person everything they needed.
Mm.
And so, utilizing ads for that person just it's not everybody should use it. It's that the majority of people will probably benefit from it. And it kind of comes down to two things. It's either you're gonna use it to get somewhere faster. So it's like, hey, I could use socials and I could post and I could catch fire, I could go viral, this could happen. And if I do this over the course of the next 3 years, then it's like, okay, but that 3 years could be 3 months because the amount of people that you reach from your socials in the space of 3 years very likely is not going to cost that much to get in front of that many people with ads over the next 3 months. So it's a speed thing on the first point. The second point is about that scale. And it's like where do you want to take this thing is really the big question. Because with socials, I mean, I get clients every single month from a relatively small audience on socials, but I get inbound DMs off the back of my content. We have conversations, book calls, sales. And so outside of ads, I get sales as well, but my business would not be anywhere near the size that it is if I wasn't running
Mm,
ads. The ads fuels about, I don't know, 90 to 95% of my sales
mhm.
every single month. And they're the same ads that I run every single month and they never change. There's small tweaks here and there, but it's the same ads, same system every single time. Um, so in terms of like being a pay to play platform, I'm never going to be the person here for my own agenda to sit here and say, "Oh, Facebook ads is the only way to grow
Mm,
a coaching business." Now, I don't believe that. I don't even believe that there's one way to run Facebook ads. Like we've got 37 different ad systems for a reason, so we can cherry pick the right ones for the right people. So
mhm.
when people are saying there's only one way to run Facebook ads, or you don't need Facebook ads, you only need this, or hey, you don't need content anymore, you just need Facebook ads, all of it is BS. Like
Mm.
everything works, but you just need to kind of you need to work within number one, your budgets, number two, your goals, and number three, the speed in which you want to get to those things. So yeah,
Mm,
like you said to an earlier point as well, it's like you're gonna pay in something. Like you're gonna
mm.
pay in either time, you're gonna pay in money, you're gonna pay in energy and effort. There's gonna be something that you're gonna have to do to acquire the next chunk of clients, if you will.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I think a lot of the times we do get inundated with content on social media about where we should be. Like if I had $1 for every client I caught up with that said, so I was talking to one of my business friends, and they were saying that they've gone like viral on YouTube. Do you think we should start YouTube? Or like,
Yeah.
so I got on a call with someone the other day and they went, you should start a podcast. And then I like, the amount of times if I knew my like my clients' calendars, I would be able to pinpoint the moment I'd get a message on, do you reckon we should try this?
Yeah.
Honestly. And obviously and I always come back to the strategy and what we're doing and what we're trying to do. And I never say like, no, that's a terrible idea. I always try and like see it from the way, like, yeah, of course, as you say, everything's a great idea. It's just also like,
Hmm.
yeah, what is going to work for you? What's also going to work for your audience, etc. But it's like, and the time and energy and effort. Starting a podcast takes time, energy, and effort. It's not just like magic wand and you've got this podcast and it's easy. Like it takes an extra load. So it's like it's just I find that very interesting and I love that you touch on that because I think we're all really overwhelmed with like what our options should be, but coming back to like what we want to do in the time frame we want to do it and what like what's our budget, I think is like a really good reality check. So that's a really good reminder for everyone going like, oh, there's a gazillion things that I want to do right now, but what's going to work best for me? You mentioned that you have like sort of systems that you use for Facebook ads. And when we recorded it last time, you went through, I guess, like kind of your process of putting ads out there. Um, I'm sure everyone's keen to know, and obviously they can work with you to kind of get what is going to work for them. But if someone's starting out, what do you recommend they try, test? How much money should they look at putting behind ads? I know it's always the number one golden question, like how much money do I need to make this viable? I'm keen to hear, yeah, just your sort of process in putting ads together from scratch.
Oh, good. Well, you can make it really practical. I just walk through the whole system step by step. It's relatively simple
Hmm.
in nature anyway. So when I said I've got 37 different ad systems, what I really mean there is where you're going to send them from the ad.
Hmm. Yeah.
Our overarching way of running ads is the Shoney 255 method, and it plugs into all 37 different systems. If anybody's confused by what the 37 could be, it could be a VSL. It could be direct application ads. It could be running a 5-day challenge. It could be running a paid challenge. It could be running a live masterclass. It could be running ads to a podcast. It could be running ads to a Facebook group. It could be, there's
Hmm.
tons and tons and tons. Um, Depending upon your market, what you sell, you as an individual, what you can see yourself doing long term. If you hate delivering live, you would not do a live masterclass, even if it's right for your market, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that come into what are the right systems for you. But once you know what those one or two are going to be, at that stage, what we do is the Shoney 255 method. And it's really simple. We have two campaigns, so people who know who you are and people who do not know who you are. And so that's your warm and your cold campaign. Okay. We split that out, first of all, so that well, we've already doubled our chances of finding a winner because we don't have just one campaign. So we can have one campaign that bombed, one that didn't, in theory, and we've already got our route to finding our winner, right? So we've already doubled our chances of success versus what most people do. However, with the warm campaign and the cold campaign, uh, inside them we have five audiences each. Okay. And so the reason that we have five audiences in each of them is again so that we are not just making assumptions based upon we know best, but instead we're allowing Facebook and Instagram to tell us where the best results are coming from. And so a lot of people, well, actually everybody that runs Facebook ads, just about, runs a 1-1-1 campaign. One
Hmm.
campaign going to one audience and they have one ad. And in that case, you have to hope that every single element of it is right for you to have a 50% chance of it even turning a profit.
Mm.
So you have to hope the ad copy is perfect, the image is perfect, the targeting was perfect, the placements were perfect, even the ad like set up at step number one was perfect as well. All of those things need to be perfect for you to have a small chance of success. With the Showing 255 method, having five audiences in each campaign means that four out of the five, in theory, and we don't want this to happen, we want all 10 to be excellent. But in theory, all nine out of the 10 could absolutely bomb, and you would have your winner.
Mm.
That you could turn everything else off. You could have the entire budget be focused and driven into the audience that is producing clients one after another, and you found your winner. And so, even with my level of like experience now of running ads for, I don't know, 13, 14 years, something like that, um, and having worked with over 3,000 coaches at this stage in a paid capacity, I would still fail 50% of the time if I was just going with best assumption.
Mm.
And it's because there are so many variables in terms of the audiences that are going to work or not going to work. And there is variables in terms of will the audience connect better with an image-based ad or a video, or within a video, would they convert better from a testimonial video or me speaking to my camera walking down the street? But having all of these in your campaign together allows Facebook to just go and find the winners. They're literally going to tell you on your dashboard the winners, and you can just quite simply turn off the losers. And it pushes the entire budget
Mm.
towards women winning formulas. And so the final step there, so we've got two campaigns, we've got five audiences in each campaign, and the final step there is to have five ads. And to create the variation there, I typically say have two videos and three images, or three videos and two images. It kind
Mhm.
of comes down to you as an individual. Do you have video testimonials? Some of these questions come into it. But once you do the maths on that, considering that you only need to find one variation to get to what everybody else is running, but much more successfully, you've got 50 chances to find a winner where everybody else has one chance.
Mm.
And that's what you're left with. Now, I want all 50 to be winners. I want the fact that we know what's working in the space in terms of how to choose your audiences for both warm and cold. Because of our experience with what's working with testimonial videos right now, which is actually a big change. It's worth chatting about if you want to.
Mm.
But testimonial videos and how to use them in your ads, and it's working amazingly.
Mhm.
Walk and talks, building connection there. Will the images work best? All of these things come into account. But once we've ran this campaign, we can easily see those winners and we can see those losers. Turn off the losers and we just scale into the winners. And that's it.
Mm. Yeah, no, I love that. And so I know lots of people like, I don't know, it can go one or two ways. Some people say like, oh, I have an ad running. I literally had a client years ago say like, I did an ads course and I've just got this ad that just never turns off and it's $1 a day and it seems to like it was bringing her, I don't know, not many leads, right? But then you have some people that are like, oh, you've got to spend like I saw this video once where he like did the math and it was like, how you work out how much you need to spend. And it was like a lot more than probably some people would be able to afford. So what's kind of like starting out a good budget or a good expectation to have on yourself? Like, okay, cool, I can't run ads right now, but if I was to in the future, how much would I need? Or I have some money like to spend on marketing.
Mhm.
What should I be aiming for? Like, what's a good amount that's not like, too low that some people say, okay, you can run ads on $1 a day and it can work, or people that say
Yeah.
realistically you need to be spending at least $100 plus per day. What's a good
hmm
starting point so we're not like completely unrealistic with our expectations, but also not burnt if we're not
Yeah.
doing it right and obviously seeing the results?
Yeah, so we get everybody to start at 10 to 20 pounds per day. So in
Mm,
your case, Australian dollars is going to be like 19 to 38. I think it
mm-hmm.
is like
Yep.
something like that. So it's
Yep.
close to double, right?
Yep.
So it's not like $100 per day
Mm,
to be able to test accordingly. It's typically the calling card of somebody that doesn't really know what they're doing to tell you that the reason why your ads are not working is because you haven't spent enough,
mm,
because we actually get data back from your Facebook ads extremely quickly and on a low spend. Facebook starts optimizing long before we even see, the results on the dashboard pull through. So the very first, let's say, 100, 200 people that see your ads, which is probably going to be the first few pennies of ad spend, they're already getting indications of the type of people that stop scrolling, the type of people that hit the see more button, the type of people that open up the form, the type of people that submit the form, what gets people interested, what doesn't get people interested. And over the next 2 or 3 days, they're not just going to find which ads perform good and which ones do not. They're going to find out in what order.
mm.
So when you see one of my ads, so like I don't want, if you want to get haunted by my ads, simply go to my Instagram once
Yeah,
and
we'll
you'll
see
never
what
be
you're
able to
up
get out of
to.
this. You'll never get out of this web ever again. So you'll see exactly what I mean by the way the Shoney 255 method works, which is you would visit my IG, you would get served an ad, but as soon as you see the ad, as long as you stop scrolling, that's
Mm,
like the first ticker. That's the indication of the person might be interested. If you click through or hit the see more button to read more, or you watch the video to 75% of the way through, that'll be the next ticker of like level of engagement. You will not see that ad again. You will see my ad number two. Then you'll see my ad number
mm,
three. Then you'll see my ad number four. And that's another reason for the Showing 255 method. It's on one side, it's testing to find winners and losers, but it's also to create ad experiences
mm,
so that people might see an advert where I'm walking down the street and I'm giving them a thought provoker and encouraging them to consider ads as the solution to the problem that they have right now in terms of, being stuck at X per month and wanting to go to the next level, whatever it may be. But the next ad that they see from me might be a completely different walk and talk, but it might also just be a testimonial. And it's a
mm,
testimonial from a client now. And now there's two things that's happened there. They've connected with me as an individual, or three things connected with me as an individual. I've given them a thought provoker. And now they're seeing results of clients and what clients have to say on the other side. So now we're
mm,
creating this like ad experience without having to do anything technical. We don't have to tell Facebook and Instagram, I want you to show this first and then this second and this third. They're working out what time of the day is
mm,
best to spend their ad budget to get the best results. So you might go, oh man, it feels like none of my ad budget's been spent today. Facebook and Instagram have probably done the due diligence on your campaign and your audience to know that the majority of conversions happen in the evening. And so these types of things are happening at scale for us, and we get to start at an extremely low ad budget.
mm,
And my big one here is, and I think you're already aware, we've now taken coaches in 13 different niches, way more if you take into account fitness and their sub niches and things like that, for instance. But broader spectrum, 13 niches to six-figure months, and that's British pounds. So that's
mm.
like multi six-figure months in Australian dollars. 13 niches there, over 20, 21 plus niches if we take into account consultants and service-based businesses as well. And I forget where I was actually going with that point. Where was my train of thought there?
I reckon you were going to say something around like how it's like it doesn't matter about the industry, or it's like it kind
Oh
of
no!
goes
We were
across.
on ad
Yeah,
spend.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
5:44 p.m. by the way, on my side.
You maxed
So
out.
I apologize.
Fine.
But even when coaches come to me and they're already at, a decent level in
Mm.
terms of their income, I still get them to start at the small ad spend as well.
Ah, yes. Yep.
And so my whole thing is you don't scale ad spend until you've got ROI. You don't scale ad spend because you've got a good cost per lead. You don't romanticize leads. You don't romanticize engagement. You don't romanticize clicks or link click-through rates or any of the things that you can see on your dashboard.
Mm.
You romanticize sales and ROI, and that's it. So you start small, and if you do not have a 5x or a 6x or 7x ROI on your ads, it's all about optimization until that occurs. So
Mm.
your ad spend stays small. And as soon as the ROI is there, and that's fantastic, then it's all about the scaling process and
Yep.
you move into that.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's so, I mean, I guess my last question now, and I think everyone is really curious, is like, okay, so what is working? And then from that, like, what do you see, like, what are the mistakes we're making to not get, because I mean, I know there's people that are running ads, maybe they're not getting those results that they are hoping for. I think we immediately blame the ad. But from what you've told me in the past, it's not always, it's what kind of happens after the ad. But I'd be curious to
Mhm.
first dive into, in the time that we have left, what are you seeing working? I mean, you mentioned testimonials, which sounds interesting. And then, yeah,
Yeah.
what mistakes are we making that we need to tighten our marketing process to make ads work?
Yeah, well, the most common ads that people run is boosted posts. And they run boosted posts so that they can bring in followers. And if they're quite proactive, they'll start conversations with those new followers and look to turn those either into direct sales in the DMs or turn them into book calls. Now, I'm not against this. It's one of our 37 different ad systems. We've got a variation called the 3x Reels system. It's
Hmm.
basically the Shoney 255 method rather than just boosting a single video, right? So that
Hmm.
ads work together. It works really well. However, over the last like 3 years, it's just been and the amount of calls that I'm on right now because so many mentorships started teaching that. Like when their clients were like, "Can you teach us ads as well?" It was like, "Well, I can show you how to boost posts," and so everybody was getting taught boosted posts in like every single mentorship, which is
Mm,
nothing wrong with because it is a good system, but it has been like every 3 months, it's been like a big drop off in how well it works. And I think the
mm,
market is just getting so savvy to if I follow somebody who's a coach, they're going to message me. It's going to be a thought-provoking conversation that then leads to a call, and a call turns into a sale. And that's like the cadence. And I think people are just getting too used to it. Skepticism is at an all-time high. You don't need to be a business coach for it to be a skeptical market. Most people have had a coach in some area in their life, one way, shape, or form, or a consultant or something. And so now everybody's skeptical everywhere.
mm,
And so two things that I'm seeing is that, well, first of all, that system is becoming much tougher. It can still be extremely profitable. We've got people that run it extremely successfully, but now where that might have been the main ad system that we run with them, now they've brought in a secondary ad system that's overtaken it. And the ad systems that are working right now, this is a great thing for everybody in the coaching and consulting space, is that the market is moving to this place where they just want the information fast so they can make a personal decision fast. They don't want to go
mm,
through your, 147 step funnel. They don't want to go through, you know, 7 months of no like and trust building. If they've got a problem and they're in the market, they want to know if you're the person that can help them. They want to know the price. They want to know what it looks like. They want to know if it fits their needs. They want to know, all the details quickly.
mm-hmm,
And so something that's working amazingly well right now is, and we call our variation of this a high friction VSL funnel.
mm-hmm,
And so for your audience, VSL funnels are video sales letters. And the traditional VSL funnel is that you send somebody directly from an ad to a page where there's a video that they watch, and then below the video is an application or a calendar so that they can book in for a call. And funnily enough, you might think, oh, so low friction, so loads of people would book calls. But funnily enough, with that system, especially if the calendar's right there, because skepticism is so high and it's made too easy, the cost per book call is really high. But the
mm,
majority of people didn't watch the video. Therefore, the people on the calendar have no idea what they've booked a call for. Um, Hardly anybody shows up. The people who show up have no idea any context for you, the product, it's, a completely cold call and the majority of people don't buy. And so it's a very expensive way to decide that VSL funnels don't work. The
Mm-hmm.
one change that we made was we put an opt-in on the front of the VSL. And so we quite simply changed it not to like, hey, I've got a free guide or a free download. It doesn't feel like a freebie. It's we
Mm-hmm.
have a system that's helped X amount of demographic achieve a specific result. Put your details in below to watch a 5-minute video to see exactly how it works or to get the exact system, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then they put in their details. That's already the first point of friction. They go to step two. Step two, headline, reminder of what they're about to watch. The 5-minute video is below. And the 5-minute video it should hit a few markers. But a really big part of like the intro is just making sure they know that you get them
Mm.
as like as individuals. Like you understand the market really well. You're not just selling a product, but you actually understand them. You know the type of things they've probably tried before. You can make sense of why that isn't working right now, and you can make sense of why there's a better solution. And then you can bring in what that solution is, what it looks like. You're talking from the point of view of your product. It's pretty direct. And then you invite them to apply. So again, it's not like, hey, if you're on this and you watch this video this far, then I'm going to give you 30 minutes of my time. It's not a bribe. It's, hey, you can apply.
Mm-hmm.
And we get them to answer 5 or 7 questions. And they answer those questions. We do 5 of the 7 if it's 7, 4 of the 5 if it's 5. We do as multiple choice. And that allows
Mm-hmm.
us to make it easy to go through it whilst they still feel that they're being qualified. So they feel like, if I get to the calendar, then I'm going to book a call. It wasn't made too easy, but you
Yep.
also end up in a position where you can disqualify people and not let them get to the calendar.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yep.
if it's written, then you can't do that. But if it's multiple choice, then you can. And you can say, for instance, like we tell people never to have questions around income or investment
Mm.
level in these. It's amazing for like if you've just got a link in your bio and it's like an application for your program, that can actually be quite a decent question if well worded. But in this system, it's so high friction. If they get onto your calendar, they've spent about 18 to 20 minutes with you in total.
Mm.
And so you don't need a question like that. You just need to know that they're in the market right now. They've got a problem and it's a priority to find the solution.
Mm.
And if that's the case, then great. So you can ask some questions that allow you to find out if this is high priority for them, if they're looking
Mm.
for a solution right now, or if they're merely looking for some tips or whatever. And those questions can allow you to not let them get to your calendar if it's not going to be a good use of your time, but you can also set up your Facebook ads so you optimize only for the people that get to calendar.
Mm.
So they're going to look for more people akin to those people rather than just merely people who will come through the system. So the great thing with this is it's relatively low friction. There's no messaging, there's no tracking leads. The emails that we have on the other side of it are really thin. It's 3 or 4 emails and a couple of SMSs, and we automate the whole system.
Mm-hmm.
Just for instance, if somebody opts in but doesn't do the application, we
Yep.
encourage them to do so. If they do the application but don't book a call, we encourage them to do so. That's basically it. But this is great because it just it brings through quality without you having to do all the manual busy work that most people have been doing with ads for the
Mm.
last few years as primary strategies. And it's working really well with the market. The market is enjoying this process versus having to jump through hoops and try and work out what your product is and the price point and how to get started and everything
Mm.
else. Um, but the main thing that I love about this is that when I created this for my clients like a year and a half ago, I created it and in the training it was just setting this up for warm audiences. It was
Mm-hmm.
like, so here's how you set it up to retarget anybody who's engaged with any of your content, your socials, email list, etc. This is how you get back in front of them with this amazing system to get them onto your calendar, book calls and make sales. And it was working great. But it was working so great that I was then saying to people, just duplicate the campaign and let's just change your 5 audiences to cold audiences and
Mm-hmm.
let's just put a small budget behind it and let's just see what happens when we run this to cold. And well, actually, I did this for me first and it worked really well. So then I started to tell people to do it where I was really confident in theirs and it just took off. And I was
Mm,
like, this system is so high friction that this works for cold audiences to merely find not just people who are looking for that outcome, but people who are in the market right now. The sheer
mm,
fact that they're going to spend 15, 20 minutes with you across the entire system, um, it just it just wheedles out the people who are not, people who are procrastinating on an idea like I would like this to happen, I'd like to grow my business, I would like to lose weight, I'd like to do this, I'd like to do that, versus the
mm,
people that are like something needs to change right now. And they're the people that come through a system like this. And
yeah.
once it's rocking and rolling, it's just scaling
Mm,
because it's already created. You don't need to show up live to anything. You
mm,
don't need to manage your leads. You don't need to message people and follow up with them and send them voice notes. You don't need to do that stuff. This is just automated call booking,
yeah.
but with such high friction that quality is the thing.
Yeah. No, I really like that. I think it's really good for people that have probably even found in the past that maybe clients that they've taken on, especially coaching, haven't done the work either. Like maybe they go, okay, I'll do it, and then they don't show up or they don't put in the energy and effort, and then like you want to get results for people as well. Like that's the whole point of it. So yeah, it can be a good, I just say a system to weed out people that aren't ready, or as you say, they don't show up to calls, or they don't really know what they're there for. And then it's like a little bit awkward when you show up to a sale call and they don't know that you're going to sell to them either, right? Like it's a
Yeah.
little bit like, okay, what are we doing here?
Oh, when you pitched it as
Copy
like a
catch
really
up.
high value call with no pitch,
Yeah.
and then like the game is to provide value, and then at the end transition into a pitch. People hate that, and
Mm,
like, and I mean the coaches. Like people hate it on the other side. We already know that, but coaches hate it as well. Like they
yeah.
hate having 30 calls in their diary for the next 2 weeks, but they don't know who's going to show up. And the people who show up, they know that they need to do this like song and dance of like provide value and then transition it into a call in which they feel a bit awkward because they said there wasn't going to be a pitch. And it's like it's mucky.
Yeah, it
Um,
is. Yeah.
but this system's way better.
Yeah. No, I love that. Amazing. The last thing I want to, yeah, just touch on is, uh, I've experienced this myself, and I have a task in my list to go through and review everything. But I have an ad running that's been running for ages. As I said to you last time, I need to talk to you. I will get there. I just had to tighten up some things. But basically, I know there's a gap after people see the ad, right? Like I have them on my email list and I don't really do too much with them. You mentioned in the first recording that we did how, yeah, you find that the reason why ads don't necessarily work, and obviously this system that you've set up sounds like it kind of eliminates a lot of that, but people have these pages they send people to or these emails that just don't convert, and then they go, oh, well, the ad didn't work, right? The ad was a bust. I'm spending money on nothing. And then they turn the ads off instead of actually optimizing the other end.
Yeah, that's it. Well, it's a really big issue with like inverted commas, lead quality is what people will always say. So it's like it's
Mm,
not quality leads. It's definitely not the system that I've built. It's the lead quality. Um, but you can find simple things like if you're running a lead magnet, a simple thing like on the thank you page, having an application for a book call is a really good move and it gets tons of people onto
mm,
your calendar. It's not my favorite in comparison to a VSL funnel right now, um, because of that quality control overall. But I've got a lead magnet in which I don't even run right now because VSL is just completely taken over for me as well. But my entry offer lead magnet, I ran that for about 4 years straight. And the people that book calls immediately after opt-in, and this is after them answering like 7 or 8 questions and then getting to the calendar, was somewhere between 23 and 26%
mhm,
from the ads directly. So not from organic, not from like warm means. I'm talking about complete strangers coming through, opting into a free Facebook ads course, for instance, or a free Facebook ad template bundle or something akin to that. And on the next page, literally just saying, the thing you just requested. So instead of giving it to them, you say, the thing you just requested will be in your emails in the next 10 minutes. So now you have like their attention because they're not expecting it. And If you've set it up in the system right, then they actually shouldn't get it for 10 minutes. And that gives you your time to not have a notification come down on their phone that takes them
Mm.
away from the page, right? So that thing you just requested, it's going to be in your emails in the next 10 minutes. In the meantime, if running Facebook ads is important for you and your business, or if you're really looking to scale with Facebook ads right now, then answer 7 questions below and book a 30-minute ad strategy building session directly with myself so we can map out a plan of action for you. Something akin to that. You'd have your 7 questions there. You can still do qualification, and then they get to calendar on the other side. Again, this is another one where I've tested it with calendar at that step, and people don't book if the calendar's there and it's made too easy. You get them to answer 8 questions and people start booking calls like crazy with
Mm.
qualification. So sometimes you can say the lead magnet doesn't work. The ads are bringing in the wrong people, but sometimes it's like we'll put that one step into this system and you might just start filling up your calendar like crazy.
Mm.
So very often it's not the ads that are the problem, it's what's happening afterwards. But you can see that pretty quickly in the ads data anyway. Like if you're just on the ads dashboard and you're looking at your ads, whether you're using a Facebook lead form or you're sending people to a landing page, the goal of the ad is to stop somebody scrolling, get them interested, and get them to click the button, regardless of if you're using a Facebook form or a website. And link click-through rate, which is something you can add to your dashboard. So just go into custom columns and just add it to your
Mhm.
dashboard. If that's above 1% on your campaigns, the ads are pretty much doing their job. So that means that over 1% of people who see your ad, which by the way is a high percentage. So over 1% of people who see your ad are not just engaging with it, but they're clicking the actual button to open up
Mm.
the Facebook form or to visit your website. That's really good because it doesn't cost a lot to get in front of people. So that's a really good percentage. Some people will have 2%, 3%, 4%, but above 1% is already good. If that's happening, it's not a catch-all that this is 100% of the time, but like 98% of the time, that means that you don't need to fix the ads. That means that something after they make that click, if your ads aren't working, by the way,
Mm.
then something after that click is what's broken. And it may be that you need to change the opt-in page. It may be that if you're getting tons of opt-ins, but you're not getting people to book call, you need to change the questions you're asking on the form. You just need to identify the weakest spot in the entire system, not just the ads, and be like,
Mm.
I don't have calls and I don't have sales, so change the ads. And it's like the ads might be doing their job. You might have to change something else further
Mm.
down the line and
Yeah.
optimize that.
And that's the beauty of data, right? It can tell you what to
Yeah.
fix. Like if you've got the people clicking through, the people opting in, it's the last step. And that's what makes like you're not just going, oh, I don't know, I'll just fix everything. And then you make those 1% changes. And as we know, it's always the 1% changes that makes difference. Like, even you when you were setting up your first ever business, it was just a 1% change that you made, which was like just flipping from organic to paid marketing that changed things for you. So it's like, it's always those 1%ers that make such a difference. But thank you
Yeah.
so much for sharing your knowledge. Again, maybe one day I'll recover the podcast and we can just have both. How can people find you and learn more about the work that you do with business owners on Facebook ads?
Oh, good. Well, one of the best places you can go, because then you'll find everything else gets hit with you with ads anyway, is just go onto my Instagram. So if you go to Neil Shoney ads, which looks like Neil's honey
Honey.
ads, yeah, unfortunately, I actually tried to get that IG handle back in the day, but there's literally a guy that sells honey. He's got bees. A guy called Neil. And he's not even
So
using the
good.
page. He's got like seven. It's like a private profile with like 13 followers, but it's literally him. You can go
So
and
annoying.
look at it. I haven't looked at it in a while, but I assume that he hasn't like picked it up and started using it. I sent him a DM, but he never replied. But it's literally a guy with like a beekeeper hat on. It's like it's amazing.
Just selling
But
honey to
anyway,
his friends.
it's so good. But Neil's Honey ads or Neil Shoney ads, however you want to look at it. You can just search for me on IG, find me there. if you want to literally see how the VSL funnel works, it's in my link in bio, so you can literally go through the system and see how it works. Even if don't book a call and then not show up to it.
Yeah.
Go,
Don't
go
do all
go
of the wrong
go
things.
through the system and don't book the call just so that you can steal it. But yeah, no, that's probably the best place to go to take a look. I've got a YouTube channel as well where I share
Yep.
like in the dashboard training. So again, just search Neil Shoney, and you're gonna find that as well.
Amazing. Also, there are people interested, so please book a call and work with Neil because he knows a lot. So if you are interested, do book the call, right? Thank you so much for spending time with me again. I really appreciate your time. And yeah, thanks for teaching me so much as well as everyone else listening, because I think it's always one of those misconceptions around Facebook ads. And I love how you teach it because it's not this like really, you have to do it this way, you have to do it that way. And it's very, often we think marketing, Facebook ads, icky, like salesy, and you are the complete opposite to that, which is a breath of fresh air. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me.
All right. Do we feel more confident about running ads? I know I do. I feel like Neil gave us a lot of confidence and a lot of things to reflect on. So if you're currently running ads, maybe you might want to reflect on some of the things that he spoke about. If you've never run ads before, does it feel a little less overwhelming? Because I know for sure it would for me. You can check out Neil. As I said, give him extra love for him taking the time to record this twice. But as they say, it always is better the second time around. But be a content queen or king, and remember that developing your strategy and story develops your business. Thank you so much for joining me today. And please don't forget to share this with all your business and entrepreneurial friends. And if you do have a minute to leave a rate and review, it does help me get more amazing guests on like Neil. And I know some people are definitely rating and reviewing because I am inundated with podcast requests for people to come on the show. So keep it coming. Share it on Insta stories and tag me at Content Queen Mariah. Again, just share it with them. Share the love with Neil for spending time with us. And yeah, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. If you have any topics you want me to talk about in the future, any guests you want me to come up to get on the show, let me know and I'll talk to you soon.